I began to wonder if what we were really doing in evangelical circles then had more to do with redeeming ourselves to culture than it did with showing Jesus to a hurting world, a world literally filled with outcasts. Not long after Deacon told me that story, I was in a record shop with a friend who was also in ministry. And we were having this same conversation, and I was saying that I think, as Christians, we might be obsessed with whether or not we appear cool to the world. My friend disagreed and talked about all the ministries that minister to the outcasts, how if it weren't for the church, many people would go hungry and many people would die lonely. That's true, I said to my friend, but let's try a little experiment. I looked out over the record store, a mass-market chain store that must have housed 10,000 CDs, and I asked him to go into the racks and find one ugly person on the cover of a record. Do what? My friend asked. You know, find an ugly person. Okay, my friend said reluctantly, and with that he walked into the aisle and started thumbing through the discs. What about this one? He said, holding up a compact disc with a dorky-looking guy holding an acoustic guitar, the letters of the type looking like something printed in the 60s, but the picture very much modern. Easy enough, isn't it? I asked. Yeah, sure, he said sarcastically. But the reason I had asked him to do this was because I knew our next stop would be a large Christian bookstore here in Portland, a bookstore that has an entire room devoted to music. We were heading over there to pick up a case of books we had ordered. When we arrived at the store, I asked my friend to come to the music room with me, and I asked him to do the same thing, to find a record with an ugly person on the cover. I see what you're getting at, he said with a smile, and he started walking down the aisle. I went with him, and both of us thumbed through the discs, picking out covers and showing them to each other, but none of the artists even slightly passed for ugly. We spent about 20 minutes looking through the records, but came up with nothing. We literally couldn't find one record cover with an ugly person on it. You can try the same experiment if you like. And I don't mean any of this to say that good-looking people are bad. I would actually like to be a good-looking person one day. I am only saying we are perhaps even more obsessed in the church with the stuff culture is obsessed with. We are hardly providing an alternative worldview. The mantra seems to be, trust in Jesus. He will redeem you to the world. The examples get worse. A friend told me recently he volunteered at a church only a mile from my house. This is a large church with a successful television ministry. He said his job was to usher people to their seats, and that after he had been on the job for a while, he was asked to put some of the more pleasant-looking people on the front rows, as these people were more likely to be caught in the picture when the camera pulled out on the audience, or when the preacher walked down from the stage to make a point. I assure you I am not making this up.